God is going to use the pain, the suffering, the torment, all of the things that's ever happened to you that has kept you up at night, that had you doing drugs at one point, the things that had you going to the club, the things that had you drinking to the point you black out, you don't even know what happened. That thing right there that you don't even talk to people about, your best friend may not even know. God got them. He seen, he saw, he was there. He watched over you the entire time. That's why you're not in the crazy house. Yeah? You're so blindsided that you can't see that God is using your story for divine elevation. I had to change. Like something had to give, because this can't be how life gets. Hey y'all, it's your little big sis CJ Renee, and this is another episode of The Thriving House. I hope you all are doing well. I hope you guys enjoyed your week thus far since the last time we seen each other. Okay, so with that being said, I want to go ahead and jump into today's episode. Today's episode is titled The Blueprint, not the Jay-Z version. But yeah, now let's get into it. So I hope when y'all walk away, the takeaway from this will bless y'all lives, because, of course, everything we do has to come from the Bible. Okay? These are not just thoughts and feelings anymore. It got to be biblical in order for us to do it right, right? So I hope you take your tidbit and you go to God and see if it aligns with where you need to be, and ask God to help you get there. Amen. Follow the blueprint. Let's go. So I'm reading from Genesis 50, the New Living Translation, and I'm starting at verse 14 to 21. Follow along. After burying Jacob, Joseph returned to Egypt with his brothers and all who accompanied him to his father's burial. But now that their father was dead, Joseph's brothers became fearful. Now Joseph will show his anger and pay us back for all the wrong we did to him, they said. So they sent this message to Joseph. Before your father died, he instructed us to say to you, please forgive your brothers for the great wrong they did to you, for their sin in treating you so cruelly. So we, the servants of God of your father, beg you to forgive our sin. When Joseph received the message, he broke down and wept. Then his brothers came and threw themselves down before Joseph. Look, we are your slaves, they said. But Joseph replied, don't be afraid of me. Am I God? Can I punish you? You intended to harm me, but God intended it for all for good. He brought me to this position so that I can save lives of many people. No, don't be afraid. I will continue to take care of you and your children. So he reassured them by speaking kindly to them. Y'all, I don't know. I'm going to just say I don't know. I don't know, because let me be real. Let me be real authentic with y'all. This healing journey is not for the faint. It's definitely hard. But what I see God displaying in this chapter throughout these verses is definitely the plan of you thinking the things that happened to you, the people that hurt you, the divisiveness that they used and manipulated you and all these things were to harm you and initiate some type of burden on your life, when in fact God allowed these people to be in position for the harm to come to you, but not to take you out. Okay? So God positions you to be in these situations, positions these people to be in situations for them to cause a rift with you, or to break you down somehow, or to cause you to be in this ache, this pain, this part of your life where you're like, God, why is this happening to me? That right there has positioned you, because God knew your heart. Just like God knew my heart, and God knew the heart of Joseph. God knew your heart, and he knew that if he did it to so and so, they may or may not act the way they're supposed to. I heard somebody say this week that the reason why Job, and we spoke about Job last week, the reason why Job was chosen by God to go through the storm that he went through is because God trusted Job with the storm. Some people, let me say not us, some people cannot seem to see when God's hand is on a situation. It's very difficult for them to notice that things don't happen by accident. People don't just choose you to be the enemy. People don't just come after you and they don't just attack you. These things happen for a reason. And right here, we're seeing that though Joseph's brothers attacked him, they tried to leave that man for dead. They tried to put that man in a bad situation, and he did go through a bad situation. Not only was he sold as a slave, but then they threw him in a jailhouse. That man was chased. He went through all kind of things. But to end up in a place where he's now positioned to help people, not just his brothers, not just his family, but to help all the people that was under him. He had a leadership position in the kingdom. What is God trying to do with your story? That you're so blindsided that you can't see that God is using your story for divine elevation. How can you not see it? It's clear as day. You have a heart of gold. You are a sweet person. And you're wondering why this stuff keeps happening to you. It's not because you're bad. It's not because you don't deserve good things. It's because God is going to use the pain, the suffering, the torment, all of the things that's ever happened to you that has kept you up at night, that had you doing drugs at one point. Let's talk about it. The things that had you going to the club. Let's talk about it. The things that had you drinking to the point you black out, you don't even know what happened. That thing right there that you don't even talk to people about, your best friend may not even know. Those are the things that God wants to use, not to harm you, but to help you and all those around you, because you have a better story for your life. It doesn't end with what happened to you. And remember, the things that happen to you is not about you. It's not about you. But God trusts you with the pain that you're facing. And he wants you to realize that the pain that you face is not for you to get your look back. It's not for you to be in vengeance. It's not for you to walk around thinking about, oh, I'm gonna lay down with the dogs. I ain't gonna get no fleas though. Honey, let me tell you something. I don't know about y'all, but I've been watching Squid Games. And I saw how people in the Squid Games was trying to get their look back on everybody. And every time they try to get their look back, they end up playing themselves. Let's not do that in life for real. Let's stop trying to get the look back. Because just like Joseph said here, he's like, am I God? Am I supposed to punish you for what you did to me? That's for God. That's for your God to do to you. You don't gotta raise your hand to nobody. You don't gotta open your mouth and speak against nobody. God got them. He seen, he saw, he was there. He watched over you the entire time. That's why you're not in the crazy house. Yeah? I feel like it also displayed a moment of forgiveness because they're carrying this energy, right? Thinking, I harmed him. I did things to him. I made him, I made him get to this point where he was in a jail cell. We thought he was dead. Like, we put him in a situation. They felt the burden of that. And he said, let me remove that burden from y'all because I forgive y'all. I'm good on it. Y'all did what y'all had to do. Y'all did not mean the best for me. But God had a different plan. You may have meant to harm me, but God had a different plan. Now I'm positioned. So you did me a favor, babe. Thank y'all. That's basically what happened in this text, right? Also, it shows having empathy for people, not seeing it from the point of view of, why are you crying? You hurt me. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I'm one of those people. God has to check me sometime, like, my daughter, get it together. You have to have empathy for people. Just because they hurt you does not mean you can't see from their eyes how they were broken. Because hurt people, babe. You have to be able to see it from their eyes. Like, I've been in a situation where I've been hurt by somebody I loved, right? And not just one time, but multiple times. But I'm going to tell you about my ex-fiance. My ex-fiance came from a broken home, okay? But his mother was out there. Let's put it that way. She was not a stable representation of what being a mother is. And so a lot of times the representation of what a mother looked like, he didn't understand it because of what he had at home. And so being someone who's a mama's boy but also has a bad relationship with their mom, it was very tormenting for him because he loved his mom. He really loved his mom, but their relationship was so toxic that for me to be in a relationship with him, I had to understand why he can't communicate these ways, why he goes into defense mode when I say certain things, because of the relationship he had with his mom, right? I had to come to the understanding that though my ex fiance hurt me, he abused me, he manipulated me, was very narcissistic towards me, and literally dried up my savings, I'm fully aware that if I was to see him today, that I may not want to touch him. I first was saying I would hug him. I'll give him a big hug, but I think I would be able to greet him fairly, um, because of the simple fact that one, I did have love for him at some point in my life. You don't just stop loving someone. That's just not how it works. No matter what happened between you guys, you just don't stop loving a person. But I would identify that though he was the one that caused me so much hurt, so much turmoil, I've never been in an abusive relationship. I never had hands laid on me in that way. I never gone through so many toxic things in my life until I met him. Um, I think though he was the the pivotal moment of my life where I'm like, okay, I gotta stop what I'm doing and change my ways. I thank him for that. I thank him for being so horrible that he turned me around in my tracks. Like, I knew that I couldn't continue life this way no more. Like, I had to change. Like, something had to give because this can't be how life gets. like, like, he gave me that oomph to, like, okay, you need to heal. You need to get back to God. You need to get back in your word. You need to learn how to pray. You need to start eating right for yourself, doing things for yourself, taking care of yourself, trying to love yourself better because what happened that you feel like you needed him to love you? I didn't understand. I felt like I needed him to love me. I That's why I never let him go. Even all the cheating, all the things, all the lying, all the manipulation, I seen it. I was aware of it. But I stayed until it became too toxic. But he gave me the strength not only to one, get up and leave, but two, to find my way back to me. Which now positioned me in a different place where I can help you. Not just one of you, not just two of you, but a few of you. At least a good 48 of you, right? Because that's what my subscriptions say on this platform. And it continues to grow. And I'm so thankful that God is allowing my pain to be a blessing to someone else who may have been struggling on figuring out how to find their footing in their healing process, to someone who may be trying to understand how to forgive the person that did this thing to them. Because coming to a point in your life where you want to heal means you've been through a lot of things. A lot of people don't get hurt one time and they're like, I need to heal. No, it's several things that happen along your life path that you're like, okay, something's got to give. I need to heal. Because my ex-fiance was the tip of the iceberg. There was so much more underneath. Things that happened years ago in my childhood. Things that happened years ago in my household that I never addressed because it wasn't that big of a deal at that moment. But it played such a major part in getting me to a place where I needed my ex-fiance to love me. But thankfully, he was who he was. Because he turned me back around, and because of the situation I faced, I'm now where I'm supposed to be. I'm not off the rail. Because could you imagine? Let's take a minute and just think about that. Me not living saved, okay, doing whatever I wanted to do. Think about that. Drugs and what have you, all of it. Living miles and miles away from my household. Barely ever going to church. Barely ever praying. Barely ever reading the Bible. And I'm unhealed, but he loves me good. And he becomes a good man, and I marry him. I'm now married into this lifestyle that I know is not suitable for me. Could you imagine how horrible that would have been? Being so far off track that I have to beg God to help me, to help my household get in order. That's too much work. I'm glad God did it the way he did it. I'm glad that man hurt me, and it turned me around in my tracks and made me go the right way. Sometimes you just got to be thankful for the bad things that happen, because if they didn't happen, would you have gotten to this place? And I think that's the major takeaway. Don't be so concerned about why it happened. Don't be so concerned about who it came from. Why did they do that? But be mindful of where you are today. If that didn't happen, would you be here right now? Would you be watching today? Would you be wanting to be healed? Would you be wanting to do this journey? Because this journey is not easy. Nobody chooses this for a Band-Aid situation. And just to be honest, there is no such thing as a Band-Aid situation. Everything that hurts, hurts. It needs to be addressed. But nobody just does this off of, my friend stopped talking to me. No, healing comes from a lot of stuff built up over time. And you decide to take a healing journey, it's real. And no, technically you don't have to have trauma, maybe not, to go through a healing process. But you definitely need God along the journey, because he highlights why things happen the way they happen. He brings to illumination, or he gives you the revelation of why these things took place, so that you were able to be where you needed to be, so that he can use you for his glory, so that you can have purpose. Because some of us don't even tap into our purpose, because it's like our spirits come into our earthly bodies, and we get placed on earth, and we get so flustered and just like blindsided by all the things that's going on in the world, and all the like things that we could partake in, and all the things, and we get so flustered by the information overload, system overstimulated, and then we lose track of what God actually put us on earth to do. We lose all memory of the download that we had before we hit earth, to know what was in us and how we were supposed to use it for the glory of God. Get back to your purpose. Get back on track. Let God divinely position you through whatever it is you had to face, and keep trucking. You don't have to get your look back. Anyway, this has been an episode of The Thriving House with your little big sis, CJ Renee. Bye, y'all. I love you. Hey, it's your little big sis, CJ Renee, and this has been an episode of The Thriving House, where we focus on purpose, and purpose helps us find peace. And in peace, we are empowered for our thriving. Now, you know this episode touched your heart, and you know it inspired you. Make sure you share this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. Love you. Bye.